She needs like a scarf or something to okay, so that she can be comfortable up there. Yeah, I think Pastor Louis, we have two now. We should get two for the price of one. Mr. Abe, you don't mind? To what God has joined together, who's going to try and put it asunder? Please sit down. I'll stand. I'll stand. It's fine with me. Mr. Abe, we're going to talk a little bit more about your faith journey, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some aspects of your business in the network service. In the network service, we have a little bit of an anointed service where we are trying to look at spirituality and practicality. But in this service, we normally focus on business. And this month's thing is resilience. And the reason why we take monthly themes as a church in order to help us focus, one, so that we don't have teachings going in different directions. Also, it's designed to grow us up. So in the whole year, we've taken different topics. But now we're looking at resilience, and as God will do it, because I had come up with this almost 6 months ago or so, and then I don't think there's ever been a time you need more resilience than today. Because, man, everything is tough. You took the gamble of going from one of the richest companies in Nigeria to start your own at a time when everybody is looking for a job. Why?
Good morning, Pastor. Thanks for inviting me. I will start by appreciating Pastor. Pastor is somebody I've learned a lot from. Our pastor is an excellent. He likes excellence. He will demand it. So you working with him, you will sense that we've gone through a lot to be where we are now. So yeah, part of people that made me is Pastor really, because I could remember. Thank you, Pastor. I could remember while I was in MTN. When he sent me the team, he said discovering purpose. I say yes, really. Purpose is, Bible talks about purpose being like a deep well, the wise will draw out of it. So it's not something that is shallow. It takes a lot to draw, to discover your purpose. I was in MTN then, and it got to the point where I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew that I was fed up being MTN. So I just started. When he was reading my biography, he said mention about conferences, going for conferences and all that. So I just got restless. I started going all over the place. Any conference I see, I will attend. And I attended, I think somebody went to my profile, LinkedIn profile, and he just read, and she invited me for a conference. I guess South Africa then. And I called, we started chatting. I told her, I said, I don't have money. He said, no, don't worry, just come as a speaker. We'll sponsor it. I said, really? So one can come as a speaker in a conference and he's sponsored. And that just gave me an opening. I said, this is possible. So I started searching for conference to be a speaker, even if I know what I'm saying. just because I felt it's an opportunity to just go around the world. And so I started looking for conferences, and that was it. And as I was going, it was a purpose in my heart. I just couldn't discover what I wanted, but I know I was restless. So I will attend. I will, just like we are sitting here, I will listen. And when I'll get home, I will share with her. I'll say, interesting, see what we were told and all that. There was one conference I went to, and they were talking about Africa. And one of the directors said, in Africa, it's very easy doing business in Africa. That you set up a company, you give yourself title. You could call one director, Middle East and Africa. Call the other one this and that Africa will subscribe to it. I say, really? So that's how you see Africa. That you could just go by giving yourself title. Say this one is director, Middle East, but that taught me a lot about branding. So it means if you brand yourself properly, you have a scope, you have a wide scope that you can tap into. So, and I was just going in, and it just occurred to me that all these people we read about, they are just normal human beings like us. They are basically normal human being like me and you. There's nothing different. Maybe probably it's just because they have access to some information which we don't have, or access to some funding which we don't have. But then, if you know what they know, you can also access such funding. There is nothing really too big about that. That gave me confidence. And when I came back, I know I used to tell her, I read electrical electronics. I said, I've monitored waves, business waves, or when you ride on a wave, it's easier. I said I've monitored business waves that I should have taken advantage of, and I just couldn't. I said one of them was IT. I read electrical electronics. When Pastor was reading my profile, I said I worked with R.E.A.L, and then R.E.A.L was in the 2001, and that was when PC was just coming up. And I learned PC. I could couple PC, I could copy computers and all that. And I told myself, I used to tell her, I said, but a lot of people have made money through this. I said, look at Idea Consult is there. He has made money. He rode on that wave. I said, Citadel is there. He rode on that. I'm just giving local example. I know the other example, HP and all the rest are there, and they rode on that wave and they made it. I said, and Telecom also came. You heard a lot of companies too that made. I said, this one that renewable is coming. I think maybe it's my own time to ride on it. And so usually for every time, even when there is recession, there's always a wave one can ride on and you become what you want to be. And basically, so it was more of, will I say, you said how I started the business. I became restless and I discovered the business. So it was basically, and I know it applies to every one of us. There is a point you just become restless. You don't know. Take that as it's part of this God working through you to discover something. So pay attention to the things you move, you see, and take advantage of it. So being restless is not really it's not a negative thing. It's just God putting that listing in you to discover what you can do more. I don't know whether she has something to add.
I'm going to go to my minute. It's important. You don't decide your purpose, you discover it. It's very fundamental. People get up and say, this is what I want to be. You can see it comes from restlessness. But you also made some shifts. I'll come back to you in a minute. You also made some shifts. You were working with Skip, and according to the rumors that I heard, you were doing incredibly well. And then you decided to go to IITA. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Why that shift? Now you've left now.
Yes,
I've left. With him.
Yes, sir.
Why did you do that, and how do you link all that together?
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Pastor. Thank you for this opportunity. It's always a joy to share with people the things that we've gone through and believe God that one or two persons may learn something from it. The experience I had in Skip was a very good one. But then when it came to the family and the children were coming up, they were schooling. You had mentioned IITA, so they were schooling in IITA. And my office at Skip was in Ring Road. And then most times it was not in Ibadan. And I live around Bodija. So in the morning I will head this way, like going to the north. I'll come back and then head to the south. So I desired for a change. And before then, I had applied a lot of times to IIT. People usually write and send by mail or by post, but there was no opportunity. And another key thing too, as a family, before we took our children there, we had prayed and trusted God. The fees wasn't something that was convenient for us, their school fees then. But we trusted God that was the least we could do for them as their parents, something that would last, give them a lasting legacy. I remember the last time we finally decided to take them there, we had gone to church, we had prayed that morning and went to church and said, God, give us a final clue. Our pastor was preaching and he said, many years ago, I bought some seeds in IIT. And for us, that was just it. You may say it's not linked, but we came that day, we went to church expectant, and that was how we took them there by faith. And God honored that faith. When eventually I had access to be going in and coming out, I learned of a vacancy that I could apply for. And that was how I applied. And it came through. And it came through in such a way that the position granted us almost like 70 or 80% discount off their fees, the same fees that was an issue. So what I would like to encourage someone when you decide and trust God, when there's an opportunity, step out. Putting them there in the first place, it wasn't considering what we were earning. Yes, we didn't know how we were even going to keep up because they pay school fees there in dollars. But somehow we said we could do this, and God helped us. We did it once, twice, thrice, and then the opportunity now came, and the rest, like they say, is history.
Thank you so much. I'm blessed by that. What I wanted you to both observe is that two different pathways, but destination. You see, some of us think because something happened to somebody this way, mine must happen that way. There's somebody who meets somebody and they fall in love and they get married in 6 months. Some people, they may know somebody for 10 years and then get married after 10 years. Everybody's path is unique. Am I making sense? As long as we end up in purpose. I was with you one day in front of your former office in Bodija and you made a statement to me. You said you were sitting in a hotel in Lagos where they had checked you in MTN and there was, we'll get to business in a minute. And you checked the amount of money they were spending on putting you in that hotel. And then you looked at it and said, they will never pay me this, yet they are spending this amount of money on me. And you said, that's one of the reasons that informed you about the fact that you wanted to live a life where you could afford these things. Can you remember that conversation? You want to comment on that?
Okay, well, I over time now, I've come to discover that depending on your economy you're operating in, some people have an advantage, some people have disadvantage. Like if you are somewhere in Nigeria where the inflation is very high, okay, let's just assume for the past 6 years now, or let's say 8 years, almost going to 8 years, dollar has quadrupled now, times 4. So the question you should ask yourself is, has your salary, if you are earning fixed income, has your salary been increased times 4 of what you were earning? If your salary has not been increased by times 4, it means you are not, as in the system, or the system is not being fair to you. I don't want to say you are being cheated by the system, but the system is not being fair to you. Really, for company, there's one idea a company has, I don't just know, but then there's this thing company has that look, and they see you as part of the resource. But then, because you are not taking a risk, employees, they don't take a risk. And the higher the risk, the more they profit. So they will likely not reward you as they will reward others that are taking a risk. Like the hotel owner has taken a risk. He owns a hotel. Probably he took a loan. So at that corporate level, it's always they can easily afford to spend more than spending on someone that is not taking it. But besides that, also, there's I want to go a bit into corporate now. There's a way the tax system is done such that if you make a lot of profit, it doesn't pay you as a business. Because we are looking at almost paying 30% of your profit as tax. So rather than me paying 30% of my profit as tax, why not increase my operation cost and use it to seek favors? So that is why somebody like you own a hotel, you are a director, I can afford to pay you any amount. Because if I don't pay it to you, I will pay it to government. So why should I pay it to government? So some of these practices companies do. To you are seeing it as they are wasting money, but then they are actually looking at there's another view that they have which you don't have that will make them take such decisions. So rather me, MTN will pay 30% of, and if they don't spend it that way, it means they will pay it as profit. So it's better you spend it, let your staff also feel happy about it, and also you get more favor.
But does this apply to companies like your own or my own? Like this, just checking. Does it apply to any entrepreneurial business? Can we apply the same principle?
Yeah, sure. One very good thing as a business, you must take care of your staff. Make your staff feel very happy. When I mean, it's not only one thing I've learned about staff is the money is good, but that is the first level. Money is good, that is the first level. But if you give them, like, okay, let me give you an instance. When MTN hired some of us, I could remember some of my colleagues were placed in Nikon Hilton for good 1 year. Good 1 year is as if you were forgotten there. And you know when I'm in Night Hilton, you will be there just food. There's no problem. You call your friends. You call some of your friends. Say, come. I'm here. Come and meet me. They give you free food. So what are they trying to do? They are trying to change your mentality. You know, like some of us that are from the village. You can even see from my diction, I'm from the village. So if they don't brainwash me to begin to see a bigger picture, I may start, if you make me a manager, I may be a horrible manager. Because I will be looking out for one naira. Okay, you are traveling, you put 2 naira, and it will affect their job. So what they want to do is to build my side, to begin to see a bigger picture, to begin to see life differently. I even share, all of them, they do it. And you even see some of these companies, if they want to make you ND, they check your background to see what is the mindset that you have. Do you have a scarcity mindset, or do you have abundance mindset? So those are the things that even when you are running your business, if you don't have, there are some mindsets, if you don't have, your business will not grow. I could remember when we started, anything loan, I would run away from it. I say no. But then that was the mindset I had. But now I embrace it. I even look for it because the mindset has changed. But I've now seen that, look, without other people's money, without accessing this business cannot expand. So really, coming to what Pastor asked, business will do it. But of course, it's all in stages. Business development is in stages. So you must be patient with yourself and follow the stages to get to where you are.
You want to comment about that?
Yes, I like the part where he ended by saying that business is in stages. One thing I've come to understand for him is that he always has the big picture. But then I'm the person, somehow I also understand that you can't have two captains in a boat. So I understand where I have to fill in. He has the technical knowledge and expertise and all that, but I don't have that. I still run away from it. But I have also my area where I have strength of character, which he will always bring to my face. So when he comes and drops that big picture of Noah's Ark, I'm the one that will sit down and start doing the calculation of how many planks, the mortar, the brick, the laborers, and somehow that has helped us. Understanding that businesses are in stages. He always has a big picture. There was one time he traveled and came back. Up till now, I can't still envision what he saw. God help me. But usually, he said that what he saw, he now used the parable in Igbo land, and when you see what is bigger than yam, you sell the yam ban, something like that. And because I also like to write, I also want to be able to connect. When he starts talking, like sometimes he can wake up in the middle of the night and start, we will do this, we will do that, and believe you me, as I'm writing, I'm wondering how on earth are we good? But somehow in my very eyes, I've seen those things little by little come. So understand that you have a big picture, but it's a day-to-day thing. The things you do on a daily basis, and also making people around you understand the vision. Maybe it's even your business. The sales girl that to you don't see anything good or that high much in her. When you are not there, she's the one that would represent you. She's the one that would represent that company, Ezine and Co Limited. So it's good she understands what you people are there for. For every day you open your doors to the world, what are you there for? And that's what will help you gradually grow through every stage, maneuvering all the challenges, maneuvering all the tough things that the circumstances around us bring, which I hope will come to, and you get to where you're going to.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's give them a round of applause. Are you getting something out of this? Good. Now let's take it a little bit further. Now I want to go into business, what are the challenges we're facing. You started Next Gen part-time. You were working in NTA and you were running Next Gen at the beginning. And at one particular time you found that you had the courage to make the plunge into it. Yet, like you said, in the last 10 years, the exchange rate, because I wanted to talk about two things. Number one, how did you maneuver through all those, you know what I mean, especially in constantly selling your goods and products. There was some I could get credit from him. All of a sudden the credit dried up because of the circumstances, because the exchange rate was moving too fast and things like that. And you had to adjust your business model. Then the second thing I also wanted to talk about is what you taught us at the poolside the other day, where you, which which I hope we're going to expand in the network service, because network service is about perfecting the saints. And the reason why I like that particular business model was the way you educated people in your industry and sent them out. And you said to me recently that you get more business from them than you get from direct customers. So can you walk us through that process so that people hear, because everybody is struggling. I'm struggling. I'm going to be announcing some major shifts in my business today while you're here to the church, because we have to pivot. If we don't pivot, we're going to die. And so it's going to affect the church in ways that I hope they'll be able to understand this morning. So can you take us through that journey? Number one, starting a business while you're still employed. Number two, how did you maneuver, you know what I mean, through the variance, change in exchange rate, inflation and all that, and then the business model you operate under and how we all can learn from it. So I'll give you time to walk through that.
Okay, thank you, Pastor. I just started, most of us are professionals here. So I just started by trying to capitalize my professional service. Let me say precisely, how did the business start? My father-in-law gave us some money. He sold one of his assets and decided to give the children small money and all that. And my manager in the office also gave me some money. Just to appreciate me, just gave me, say, work with contractors and all that. And at times the contractors will appreciate you, not illegally, though. Just for doing good job, you will give them money and all that. My manager gave me part of that money. And I live in an area where the light was horrible. We usually don't have power supply there. And I just told myself, I said, you are an engineer, you can do something about this. I called a friend of mine that was also electrical engineer in the office, but already he has started doing it. You can do solar inverter for me. Then you used to call it inverter. So he came and he set it up. And I just read. I went online, I read about solar and all that. I bought the panels myself. I called some artisans. I taught them how to help me hang it on the rooftop. And they drew the wire, we connected it. We just started having light. I'm in an estate, so usually when my neighbors they walk through my house, they will see light. Some of them will come and say, engineer, what happened? Are you always having light? And then I think I can I know how to explain, make complex things look simple for them. I'll just bring them in and say, look, I have this battery, I have this, and they say, engineer, you can do it for me. I say, yes, I can do it, and all that. I did for one, I did for two, and they will refer me to their friends and all that. That was how the business started then. And at some point, like I told you, I used to go for conferences. Already, it occurred to me that if I project it as an individual thing, I will not grow the business. So the next thing is to set up a company so that part of formalizing it, like I told you, someone told me that just give yourself titles and all that. So I could get a name and give myself MD or give myself Director, Africa and Middle East. A business has started already. So nobody will come and say, okay, what is the financials and all that? But at least I can brand it and make it look, project it. Call somebody, already I had IT background, now they can set up websites and all that. Business has started. And that was how the business started. So the first level of business, for most of us that will start business, the first level is always family and friends. And that was how I got to know Pastor. Through my friend. My friend referred me to Pastor, and then through my neighbors, my family, everybody. But after a while, that stream will dry up. So that is where a lot of businesses fail. Not being able to model your business to go beyond family and friends, customer, to a level where anybody can buy from you. So your ability to know, okay, look, this is the level of business I'm doing now. Because at that, you've not tested the business. Most of them will buy out of, okay, let me just help you. Okay, you'll be marketing me for long. Let me help you. But then you just must tell yourself that I've not really confirmed this model, this business. whether it's actually viable or not. So when we got to that point, all the people I know they've all bought inverters and all that. So the next level was now, how do I now project a business that anybody without knowing me can just come and buy? That was when we now talked of location. So if you must do that, it means you must be visible. You must have a good location. Because initially we were somewhere at Awolowo, Oshoto rather, hidden somewhere. So most people will have to describe and all that. So after that level, that stream dried up. That was when we now took that bold step of coming to Ladoke Akintola, which was more visible. And as at that time, we couldn't even afford that. When I was planning all this based on my salary. And that is another thing too in business. At times, don't limit yourself. There are some decisions I've taken based on the income I had then. If I look back, I will say, wow, if only I had a bigger mindset, or I could look beyond, I would have done better. So that was when we now went to that location. And we discovered that getting that location gave us another level of visibility. Some people will just be driving past, they see the sign, they walked in, and so I say yes, at least it's working. Meaning we are going beyond family and friends now. We are now attracting other customers, other prospects that are not within our sphere of influence. So meaning the business is growing. At some point too, I want to talk about that of, I now told myself, I said, look, okay, yes, people are buying, but most of them are end users. They are buying. So does it mean there could be scenarios where if an end user, when I mean end user, the final consumer, there could be scenarios where if we don't make a sale in a month, we will struggle paying salary. So what other levels should we now assess? That was when I now told myself, I said, yes, it means we must go beyond just end users coming to buy. Why not we also tap into others that are also doing the same business? So that even when they are doing their own business, if they make a business, we also take out of it. That was when we now considered, okay, it means we need to start distributing the product. As in, we need to start buying, importing, or just be a level above most of them, so that it will help our cash flow. So, and as at the time we started importation, precisely, we didn't have up to ₦1 million. An importation of a power product runs in millions of naira, a lot of naira. So, but what I did was, then of course I've gotten boldened by seeing that okay, people can buy and all that. I just went online and I stumbled into Canton Fair. China, they usually do like trade exhibition or something. And I just applied for China visa and I went. And I went alone. But I just went alone to China. Nobody took me there. I just went. And when I got there, I went for the conference. And I was going from one stand to the other and all that, asking questions. And I discovered there was this particular company the question I was asking them, they said, your Nigerian importers, they don't ask this kind of questions. But then, mind you, already I'm an engineer, so I will know more than most Nigerian importers. So I was asking some very, very important questions. And so they now saw that, look, it means this guy. Of course, they didn't know I didn't have money. So we talk, don't worry, I will import, I will do all this. Don't worry, I will import container and all that. We just spoke and I came back. So they now came to Nigeria. They visited, and they came to Lagos. I brought them to Ibadan. I took them to IITA, my wife. I brought them to the house. I just made them feel free. And while I was making them feel free too, they were like, this person is. I told them, I said, see, you've seen it. Of course, I gave them some market statistics and all that. But before I forget, always leverage on what you have. Because I could remember too, I took them to MTN, my office. And that's coming to my office, they could sense that this person is not just somebody by the roadside. I say, okay, you work here? I say, yes, I work in MTN and all that. So they could sense my capacity, but then the limitation is now funding. So one of them now advised me, say, no, that when he gets back, he will speak to his boss, that we could start something now. Maybe they could just, if I buy a little, already I've started buying, but then very little, maybe I'll buy 4 units, I'll buy 5 units, I'll just buy for my own use. Then, that you will speak to the boss and see how they can maybe give me small trade credits and all that and all that. So, but in a nutshell, that was how I started. When they went back, they started giving us credit, and from one level of credit to another level of credit. And we too, we got, my wife is very good with writing, like she earlier said. So we started sourcing for other source of funding besides just the trade credit we could get. There was a time we got some funding from some US development agencies, and just so, but I sort of emboldened us to see, look, getting money, access to money is really not as difficult as we think. Because it could be difficult in Nigeria, but abroad, the money is there. It's the idea that they are looking. So if you are able to profile your business and have the right kind of way of presenting it to investors, one can actually access a lot of funding and do. And abroad they like community service a lot. So whatever business you are doing, you must think of business that will have, they call it impact investing. Business that can impact a lot of people, like social walls, business that you could scope and say, okay, if I'm doing this is the impact that you have to this broad set of. That is what they want to hear. Most of the philanthropists, that's what they want to hear. That, okay, this your business has social impact. And the business we are doing, it can impact a lot of people. But you can give them statistics, okay, there are social percentage of people are underserved or served, and if I do it, this is way to affect their business and all that. So when you start at that level, when you start having all those kind of mindset and being very good with projecting yourself, finance becomes less of a problem for you. And it's now how you other things occur, like taxation and all the rest. At least financing will become less of a problem. I don't know whether you are or just say thanks.
You started talking about how you brought in the second generation of after you've done family and friends. You said you now decided to leverage. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How you train the people, how they sell your products, and so on and so forth, as a business model?
Okay, yeah, okay. Like I always believe one thing. When we started, I knew I had some things I could leverage on. I'm an engineer, so I can talk, I can lecture, I can educate people, I can train people. So we started training. We like all them retailers or installers.
Free of charge.
Free of charge. Because if you train them free of charge and you have, the strategy was as many as you can train free of charge, they will buy your products. They're already committed to you. If you educate somebody, okay, this is how to do this is how to, you will be the first. If you want to start such a business, you will be the first person you will always fall back to when there is challenge and also builds confidence. So we started offering free training services. Most of them are now big people. So the natural thing is when we started importing, most of them cannot import. So they will buy from us. So that gave us another layer of the business, whereby even when we don't make end user sales, they will make sales and buy from us. So that sort of stabilize our cash flow, because now we have other sources of revenue besides selling directly to end user. We call it, besides doing B2C, business to customer, we can also do business to business, and that gives us that stabilize our cash flow. So every month, if you are not making our end user sales, we can also make dealer sales, and that has a really
get your comment on this, and I'm going to ask you. I want us to back here for a few minutes. Those of you who are in business, to ask, because do you see the different levels? From Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, bottom was part of there. I hope you can see the levels. You want to make some comments about this before I throw it open to the congregation?
Okay, just a little addition that at every point in time, you should also be thinking about sustainability of your business. And he did mention that sometimes we went out of our way to apply for grants. In the course of writing those proposals, we get to reason how the person at the other end is thinking. And it helps us to also see how to structure the business, because they also will ask you about succession plans, ask you about sustainability plans. And one of our sustainability plans, like you said, we kept saying if you just retain this business to end user level, that means if no end user walks into our door, then for that week, that month, we may not do anything. And there was another thing that helped us to, I think we went for a conference, I can't remember when, they talked about the 7 mountains. Most of us here would have heard about it: entertainment, leadership and governance, finance, and all that. We used to look at each of them to see the one we could leverage. At that point, we leveraged media to be able to do advertisement. We did mass advertisement. But I think at that time, it's not as easy as it is now because of social media. Then we had this boards we put on the road. We used to have like over 100, the whole of Ibadan. So wherever you go, you see it placed on the road when you are driving. Even if you don't get all the information, by the time you get to the next one, the numbers are usually bold. But now it's a whole lot different. There's Instagram, there's Facebook. Just put yourself in the faces of people where they can easily see you. So it made us, apart from having that end user, having the dealer channel he talked about, we had multiple channels. We have, in our records, we have walk-in. And when you walk in, we ask you, how did you get to know about us, so that we know where to intensify effort in making people reach us. And then another key thing too, at the beginning, you had talked how, besides training external people, you know, this thing Jesus more like multiplied or replicated himself in his disciples, except for Judas. He particularly spends time with the people that work for us who are on the sales team to replicate his knowledge, his ideas in them. I know some people, unfortunately, because of our environment, we do not do that because we are afraid that they will steal our knowledge, they will steal our ideas, and they will eventually leave. But the truth is that where these things are coming from, there is yet so much we are to tap. That was why he talked about scarcity mentality. You get to some offices where bosses are overworked because nobody knows exactly, except they come to a site, nothing works. So they call you in Lagos, they call you in Oshun, they call you, you just keep going up and down. I particularly think you can't exhaust this thing. So if the staff wants to leave, let the staff leave. In fact, you've even added to the staff. Wherever he goes, eventually he comes back to you, he doesn't come back to you, but you would have made impact in one way or the other. And it doesn't by any means diminish you. Rather, it makes you have enough space to take in more and be able to impact people more.
Let's appreciate them. Come on. Now, one of the reasons why I chose to bring Mr. Ebe here this morning is because of the challenges we're facing right now. And so, and you also notice I didn't ask him to preach. Pastor Lumede, I told him I wanted to be a question and answer session because we are going through a very difficult time. There are too many theorists out there. All these seminars and programs that are seen right now, I promise you, especially the ones that you have to pay for, those guys make their money and leave you to yourself. Am I making sense? They get paid, they go away with their seminar, and you are stuck with your problems. Now you're getting a free opportunity to ask business questions. Anybody have any questions you want to ask quickly? I have plenty, so it's not as if I've run out of questions. But I felt, based on what he's just shared now, we can sit down and look at a few of the things. I spoke to you about inflation. You didn't talk about it, about exchange rate. How do you okay, the Naira has dropped back to 690, 715 now. Yet a few days ago it was 895 or 870. How do we maneuver? Those are the kind of questions I'll ask you to answer, but let me see if they have any questions. Anybody? Yes.
Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for this section. My question is, what was your greatest fear when you were leaving MTN, a paid organization where you had access to monthly salary, to fully start your own business? You were doing it part-time before, but at a point in time, you had to leave and start it fully. What was your greatest fear when you were leaving MTN?
Thank you. It's a fear that is very real. I could remember, I believe I'm just talking to you as a family. Before I left MTN, I was earning close to $1 million every month. So it's something that is guaranteed, whether I work or don't work. In fact, I was a supervisor, like more of a manager. So what is there? I don't really do hands-on. So it's more of just do this, and so when it got to the point of living, the fear is always, why will I live assured revenue to what I don't know? It took us it took me more than 5 years, 4 years. Maybe at some point I will tell her, say, I will resign this year. This year, I will not. This year will not. The year will roll past. I will come back again. I will calm down. This thing will go down. Another year will come. I will say, I will resign this year. I will resign this year. My wife is very stable. I'm the kind of I'll go up and down. So she said, but you said you will resign. Why are you not leaving? So at some point, it became an embarrassment to tell her that I will resign. In my mind, I would like, she doesn't understand. If I resign now, how will she's not looking at the cash? But she would always tell me, because my wife believes anything you tell her, she will believe. She said, but yes, you said you will resign. Why are you not resigning? But you said you will leave this. So that was in me. I said, but you said you'll be saying you will resign, you are not resigning. What is it? I now went to visit my partner. He now called me, said, Engineer Ibe. I said, yes. A Chinese man. He said, have you sat down to analyze your business? I said, of course I have. He said, okay, let me just give you a snapshot. Say you are putting less than 30% of your time into this business, and you are making this. Don't you think if you add that other 70%, you will make more than this? To me, it was very insightful. I said, but really, this man is saying something. I'm doing just 30% and I have this. So if I do more 70%, I could have. So it's just fear that is limiting me. I said, okay, she's working, I'm not working. I'm working. I said, but I always used to tell her, I said, the best couple I always like. I like where one is working, one is. I used to assume that. Because now both of us are retiring, both of us are not working really now. We are doing the business, though she still consults for IITA. So I now told I said, but then she will be working. So is it really a risk? I don't think it's a risk, because she will be working, and I will just pull out and face this thing. And it's two things now. So what is there? And besides, at least I've seen some prospects that this thing is reasonably safe. So to me, it wasn't like a risk, because at that point, we've been able to prove the model of the business that this thing is working. So it was more of, let me just focus fully on this. And that was when I left, really. So for me, really, it wasn't more of a risk at that point that I left, because then I've assessed it.
Especially after you've been trying to live for 4 years. I think it just diminishes as you get. I want to quickly ask a question. What does it take for you to go from staff of IIT to a consultant? Isn't that a reflection of one's skills?
It is, depending on the way you look at it. I also had my own fears when I was going to leave, because that was work I had done for a number of years, that even if you just wake me up, I carry my computer, I know what to do. And like I said, the technical aspects of our business has always been a challenge. And I feel, at least coming on board 100%, I should have something worth it. But he kept encouraging me that the administrative aspect you have, or the other aspect of just coming into a scene and organizing things, that's probably because he just keeps blazing the trail and going. But somebody needs to be behind him and keep putting things into perspective. So I was afraid, but then I wasn't afraid. I felt I already had a soft landing. In his own case, that's 4 years, 5 years, I felt it was stampeding him, because he wasn't moving forward and he wasn't moving backward. But I also felt it was his call. So he would have to be the one to finally decide that. And just like a pregnant woman, when the time comes for the baby to come out, the baby will just come out. So about your question, Mas, knowing the time, when the time comes, you will know. All the factors will not be in place. When the Israelites left Egypt, the Red Sea was there standing, waiting for them. All the factors will not be in place. But if you have that intense desire that this is a time to face this thing squarely, then I ask that you go for it. Because like you said, times and seasons, waves. if you don't take action, then everything may die down till a much later time, and then regrets may come in. But for mine, I had my struggles, I had my issues, I had my prestige, and I'm like, okay, but this is a brand someone else has built up. Why can't I go and build my own brand? And wherever I am as an employee, I guess 60 or 65, I can't remember how many years now, they ask you to go and live on your pension. So you might as well go by yourself and start doing things.
Anybody else? This is the Bridge Network, City Church, Canada. We're very glad to have you.